Americans rely largely on cars and on public transportation to a lesser degree, but technology is allowing a new generation of companies to reimagine how people get around. Car-sharing services like Zipcar allow urbanites to opt out of owning a car. Ride-hailing apps like Uber and Lyft do the same. Trip planning apps like Google Maps and Move It make public transportation easier to use. And the prospect of self-driving cars, under development by both car makers and technology giants, led Sergey Brin, Google's co-founder, to speak openly of his hope that the technology would reduce the need for individual car ownership. Cars are expensive. There are all these new travel options. More things are getting delivered, said David King, a professor of urban studies at Columbia University. All of this adds up to a dramatically changing relationship with travel. Individual car ownership isn't going to stall overnight. The big car makers are reporting record sales and profits. But to be competitive for the next 100 years, Ford will have to do much more than just make cars, said Will Ferrelli, who works on Ford's smart mobility team in London. We see these not as threats, but as opportunities for our business, he said. Precisely what kinds of opportunities, however, aren't yet clear. And when companies like Ford need to outsource their creativity, they hire IDEO. Best known for helping Apple design the computer mouse in 1980, IDEO today churns out websites, industrial products, and even voting systems for companies and governments around the globe. IDEO helped IKEA reimagine the kitchen and the North Face redefine its apparel brand. The privately held firm, which has 10 offices and more than 600 employees, this month sold a minority stake to Hakuhodo DY Holdings, a Japanese conglomerate. Ford is usually working with IDEO on 1 or 2 projects, and last summer, executives at the carmaker decided to take on multimodal transportation. Ford had already dabbled in this area, experimenting with electric bike shares and carpooling services. In April, the company will introduce Ford Pass, an app that offers a suite of services, including car sharing and electronic payments for parking. Starting in September, a Ford team led by Ferrelli began working with Roberts and a handful of IDEO designers with the loose goal of bringing a new product to market in 2016. There was no mandate to design a specific new app or service. Instead, the project started with questions. How to activate insights around latent mobility or multimodal needs, Roberts said in full business speak mode. How can Ford participate in that future opportunity space? Our goal is to provide ideas and solutions that future-proof Ford's place in the market. This is by no means a blue sky project. In other words, what can Ford create that isn't out there already and that will make money for years to come? Research began in earnest in October when teams of IDEO researchers set up shop in London, Shanghai, and Chicago. In Chicago, along with Roberts, there was an artist, a data scientist, and an interaction designer. These cross-disciplinary teams are a hallmark of IDEO, which takes a liberal arts approach to commercial product design. The IDEO team connected with a half-dozen Chicagoans from diverse backgrounds. Among them was a 38-year-old whose short commute to her title insurance job involved a mix of driving, public transportation, walking, and cabs. There was a 36-year-old doorman who relied on public transportation and walking for his 45-minute commute. And there was a 55-year-old who got to his job in the airline industry using public transit, cabs, and his car. For weeks, the IDEO team followed these people as they went about their lives, visiting their homes, taking pictures of what they carried in their pockets, tagging along during their commutes, and pestering them with questions like why they decided to take the bus rather than the subway. Similar work was being done in London and Shanghai, all with the aim of better understanding people's behaviors and devising ways to improve their commutes. When the IDEO team wasn't following commuters, it was interviewing city planners and academics steeped in traffic data. And for good measure, the designers tried every conceivable mode of transportation in Chicago, even when going to lunch. After strawberry salads and sweet potato gnocchi at Knife and Tine, the IDEO team set off to do some sightseeing. Its destination? Cloud Gate, the mirrored bean-shaped sculpture in Millennium Park, about 5 miles away on the lakefront. For this leg of the journey, the goal was speed, with no financial constraints. Lazy after a heavy lunch, the team chose to take an Uber. 2 minutes after Roberts pulled out his phone,